Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first edition of the Wrestling Review. This is something we've wanted to do for quite a while now. It is going to feature exclusively on the From the Stands channel. Bit different to our usual combat sports content that you will be getting, anything MMA and UFC related. This is going to be a bit different, and it is going to feature myself and my good buddy and co-host, Mr. Tanera Nathan, as we break down, discuss, and delve deep into all things wrestling related. Obviously, both massive fans for many years now, so it only makes sense to be in this arena, if you will. Now, firstly, before we get started, Mr. Tanera Nathan, how good is it to be a part of the Wrestling Review?
Mate, this is insane. I've watched you and obviously the team at FTS MMA grow from 0 followers to what now? How many you got combined? Instagram, YouTube?
We're getting there. We're getting up there. We're closing in on. We're closing in on a certain number. We're getting there.
All right, we'll go with 1 million. But like, I've seen you build this. I've seen you build this from the ground up, man. And yeah, like we've been mates for a while now, and our dirty little secret has finally come out that we're both probably the biggest wrestling fans in MMA. So I'm proud of that. I hope you are as well. And congratulations on this new side quest, soon to be the main quest in the Wrestling Review. And I'm happy to be part of it. So thank you.
Mate, I'm honored to have you join me on this venture. I think it's going to be so much fun. Now, first of all, I know you haven't seen it, so we're going to react to Raw live, and I wanted to react to a specific promo that was done by one CM Punk. Then we're going to quickly touch on heel Cena and what that means for the business. And then we'll wrap things up. We'll keep it short today, but I wanted to get your reaction to CM Punk and his promo on Raw. It was one of the best promos I've seen, maybe since the pipe bomb. Better than his AEW promo. He got a massive reaction from the crowd. I'm going to read you some quotes here. He went scorched earth on The Rock and John Cena. Said he called them both bald frauds. I thought that was a good one. He said, hustle, loyalty, and respect for 20 years, and now everyone can see what I've known all along, and that you've been selling these people and all these kids bullshit. When I get my hands on you, you're going to make a wish that I never did. And then he said some. I know, and then he said some other things, and then Seth Rollins came out. They had a big brawl in the arena, and then he said he will be seeing John Cena down the road. Which is one thing I'm really looking forward to. A heel Cena versus a babyface Punk makes for an interesting dynamic one we haven't seen before. And then, obviously Seth Rollins comes out, big brawl in the arena. Rollins versus Punk next week in a steel cage on Raw.
I did see the brawl. When you messaged me and said, are you watching Punk's promo? And I was like, no, I forgot it was on. So much to the displeasure of my boss at work, I left my post and came straight back to my car to watch the most important promo on Raw in a while. Wow. Okay, so yeah, a couple of things to take away from that. He's totally correct. They're both bald. The Rock,
I love the bald. I love the bald reference because Cena's trying to hide it. He's trying to hide it, but he's so bald.
Mate, I think they've banned the cameraman from going behind him because it sticks out like a bald spot on someone's head. Oh, hang on. It's John's head. The second one there was, what did he say? 20 years of what, sorry?
20 years of hustle, loyalty, and respect. And now everyone can see what I've known all along, that you've been selling these people and all these kids bullshit.
That is perfect in terms of building for the future and a storyline, because that's been his entire legacy, is I am the good guy. No matter how many times I want to be bad, I am the good guy. And
I actually just watched a promo from 2015 before, from when Stephanie was trying to get him to join the Authority, and he said, I will never sell my soul. And here we are 10 years later with The Rock.
Can you see me now? Can you see me now?
That is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, him versus Punk down the road is going to be a lot of fun. Just the
Yes.
whole, it just opens up so many doors with Cena being a heel. So many different matchups. We can have a Randy Orton feud again, where Randy's a face, Cena's a heel for the first time ever. There's so many fresh matchups. It's like a whole new character has just entered the WWE. Like one, he's been around for 20 years, but this version of him is unlike Edge, going short hair and starting the Judgment Day. It's nothing even similar to that. It's not like Chris Jericho becoming, uh, you just made the list, or the Learning Tree Jericho. He's completely like upended his whole shtick. Like he went from being the Hulk Hogan of this generation, and Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan for what, 10 years before he turned heel. He
Yep.
started in the early 80s, and then when he went to WCW, switched and became a heel with the NWO. But Cena was a baby face for 20 years. Like
Yep.
his whole career, he was a baby face, and now he's a heel. It's like you have so many things to look forward to. Like, what's his entrance going to look like? What's his attire going to look like? What's his first promo? How's he going to speak on his first promo? His next televised appearance is March 17th, Monday Night Raw in Brussels, Germany. I think that's in Germany. Is his next scheduled appearance, which kind of sucks. I know he's filming a movie, but that'll have to be the most watched Monday Night Raw in history.
Mm.
We still got your big
Sorry,
team.
Josh, you just cut out on me at the last bit. Say again.
You're right. I was just saying
You
that
got to Brussels.
it'll be in Brussels, and it'll be the most, I think, watched Monday Night Raw in history. I think
How far away is that?
March 17th. So we got about a week, 2 weeks from today.
Mm.
Is his next scheduled appearance. I'm sure we'll have some promos by Cody on SmackDown. Maybe another Rock tuning in by satellite, but. Next scheduled appearance for Cena, which kind of sucks considering it's his retirement tour,
Mm.
and you'd like to see him a little bit more. I thought we were going to see him like every week, sort of thing, but
Mm.
maybe it's not to be. But I guess that appearance on Monday Night Raw will be no doubt the biggest, maybe in the company's history.
I definitely think so. I think there was some chatter online saying they got to what do they say, that they got to strike when the iron's hot. They can't let this moment drag on for too long. I don't think March 17th is too far away, to be honest with you. There's plenty of time for wrestlers like CM Punk, Randy Orton. You could even throw, obviously Cody Rhodes is going to have his say on the whole matter. There's plenty of time for people to get their own opinions out there in terms of what the talent think happened at Elimination Chamber, and then for John to come back and essentially cut his first heel promo. Now, I said this to you off air yesterday. I said, if you go back and watch a lot of his promos, a lot of them are heel promos, even though he's a babyface.
Mm.
And for, obviously, people who know the terms, babyface, good guy, heel, bad guy, this, when you go back and watch a lot of, I guess just his attitude. I mean, his finishing move is the attitude adjustment, but his attitude throughout his entire career, there's always been that mean streak.
Mm.
And now we finally get to see it flourish. And I like the comparison you made with Hulk Hogan joining the NWO, roughly 30 years ago. That's really the only thing you can compare it to. You can't really compare it to Stone Cold turning heel against The Rock, siding with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17 in Texas, because shortly after that, business, I wouldn't say fell off a cliff, but sales and merchandise went down. The general public and the wrestling fans weren't necessarily on board because we didn't want to see Stone Cold turn heel. We still loved him. We've been waiting for John Cena to turn heel for 20 years, and now it's finally happened. And again, this channel is for avid wrestling fans. If you're not an avid wrestling fan, keep watching, because you're going to become one after. Well, yeah, either that or keep watching.
I like your advice.
Keep watching, because because we grew up with this, and people, we can blend the two. People that are mixed martial arts fans that look at wrestling and go, oh, it's fake, it's whatever. Well, have a think of this. What the UFC is today is what WWE was 25 years ago. All right? And I would even dare say that, WWE is bigger today than what it was 25 years ago. So going back to the topic of what they could do between now and March 17th to John's return, you're going to hear a lot of people come out of the woodworks, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Randy Orton, to name a few. And I think these are going to be his future opponents for his retirement tour. So never would have seen him turn heel for his retirement tour, but it's the best thing that could have happened.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I wanted to put in this title that heel Cena is best for business. And he came out after Elimination Chamber and said him winning number 17 at WrestleMania was best for business. Well, I think him being a heel is best for business. And I mean, last year, the lead up to WrestleMania 40 was, in my opinion, the best lead up to a WrestleMania we've had in a very, very, very long time. It was, you didn't know which way things were going. And then, towards the end, when you had it was, sort of clear that it was going to be a 4-man, on the first night of the main event, which would lead to the second night of the main event on night 2. You sort of knew what was going to happen, and then The Rock did his whole thing, and Seth Rollins called him a middle what do you say is midlife Mr. Midlife Crisis and all these sort of things. I feel like they're getting a bit hacky, like we get it, but now it's at like a point where The Rock's like this corporate rock, and he's gone back. He's like this in between guy that can be heel, he can be face, he can have fun with the crowd, he can shit on the crowd, he can do all these things, and now he's involving a guy who. No one we've seen Rock as a heel. We've never seen John Cena. Sure, you can say 20 years ago we saw Cena as a heel, but that wasn't Cena of today. That was the Cena of that was ruthless aggression Cena. And the two are chalk and cheese. I mean, one defined the industry and became the biggest name the business has ever seen. And I really feel like this moment of him turning heel was one where like we will look back in 30 years' time and be like, man, what were you doing the day that Cena turned heel, that they finally pulled that trigger? I still can't believe I've watched that clip 100 times since Sunday because it's just so crazy to see his face change like that. And he does such a good heel face. Like it's as soon as I saw his face, I lit up because I was like, no way. They finally pulled the trigger on something that I thought would never happen. I thought we would all go to our graves never seeing a heel Cena. And in my opinion, where the business is at and how big things are now, I feel like this even even though I wasn't there, like you were, and like a good friend of mine, Sar Hunt, shout out to him, who both said to me that you guys remember Hogan turning. I wasn't there, and I feel like though how much the industry's grown and being a case, this was in the WWE. This Hogan turned in WCW, wasn't where he first started. There's all these little factors that I feel like this trumps Hogan's heel turn, and I feel like it's the biggest moment in the history of professional wrestling. Would you agree with that?
I guess this moment in modern wrestling history, probably post the 90s. I would have roughly been around 6 years old. Maybe a bit younger, but I still remember when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO and people were throwing trash into the ring. We were watching it on my because my nan she absolutely loved wrestling, but she loved WCW, so we were watching it on her little 16-inch TV in her bedroom with my granddad, and I just remember, and she was probably, I don't know, she would have been about. She was 30 years ago. She would have been in her 50s, and she was furious. She was trying to throw trash into the ring at her TV.
Wow.
But I definitely agree that when you look at you're splitting hairs in which moment is bigger. Is it Hogan joining the NWO or is it Cena turning heel? I think you'd probably have to give the edge to John Cena only because one, this is the era that we grew up in, so there's a bit of bias there. But two, people say that John was a heel in the beginning of his career. Yeah, maybe. But no one cared. You know what I mean? He was a heel, then he was a face, and then he became the face for 20 years. Not just the baby face, but the face of the company. So when you have someone who has been the face of the company for that long, and then all of a sudden you go against everything you believe in, I certainly think that probably, I wouldn't say trumps Hogan's heel turn, but I definitely agree with you in the sense that it would be the biggest moment in wrestling history for modern wrestling,
Mm.
for sure. I can tell you right now, I cried as a kid when Hogan joined the NWO. I cried as an adult when John Cena turned heel, but deep down, we were all cheering. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it was something like you alluded to earlier that we never thought we'd get.
Mm.
But with social media and with the fans essentially allowing to have a voice and hearing, guys like Triple H, or as I like to call him, Triple Paul.
Triple Paul. That is the name
Yeah,
I
Triple
love the
Paul.
most. Triple Paul.
Triple Paul. Triple Paul. It kind of makes you feel like we're a part of something. Whereas before it was just like, okay, what's Vince gonna do next?
Mm.
Now it's kind of like, well, if we make enough noise, like you said last year, if we as fans make enough noise, it's possible that they'll listen. So I certainly agree. This was definitely the biggest moment in wrestling history. Post, I'd probably say post the 90s. Yeah.
Mm. It is just such an interesting time. I can't wait to keep this train rolling with the wrestling review. It is
Yes.
going to be so much fun as we lead into WrestleMania. I know probably people think we're just jumping on the bandwagon because of what happened on Sunday, and you would be correct because we are. But it was something that made me just think, man, we have to talk about this more. When we started from the stands, it was because it was a passion and something I just couldn't stop talking about, and that not that passion has diverted, but you know, I think a lot of MMA fans grew up wrestling fans first, and if you didn't, then that's your experience. But I think a lot of us did. So to be in a place where, like The Rock said last year, wrestling is cool, and it's cool to like wrestling. It's not a weird thing. You're not a dork, even though you may be, and I may be, but it's definitely a fun thing to do. And to quote one of my friends, he said to me the other day, imagine not being a fan of professional wrestling and not getting to experience these things. It's incredible. I can't wait to make more of these videos, more of these episodes as we push on with the wrestling review. If we get 20 people watching, if you're one of the ones watching today and you're still watching at this point, I salute you. We both salute you. And look, thank you for watching. I'll pass it to Tanera. Any last words before we get out of here for our first episode of the Wrestling Review?
Mate, just to finish, I totally agree with what you've said. It is okay to be a wrestling fan. It's okay. It's we live in, well, what I would like to believe is a free country. I know we've both got our opinions on that, but it's fun. This is no different than watching a Broadway play or watching a movie. And we spoke about this off air. I was like, well, we're in an industry like MMA where it's, we're so serious. Hey, relax. I obviously one of my good friends, obviously fights in the UFC. Won't say his name. Israel Adesanya. He's a massive wrestling fan. All right, and there's no shame. A few of the CKB boys, James and John Bucket, man, I've been talking to them about wrestling on multiple occasions. It's okay. It's cool to be a wrestling fan. If you don't like it, no problem. Don't watch it. But if you do, be proud.
Yeah.
And like you said, the reason that you started this, and I'm so proud to be involved, is because it really does. It brings back that feeling of nostalgia and the I'll try not to get too emotional, but my nan passed away 11 years ago. The only times that I would watch wrestling when I was a kid would be with my nan and with my granddad. So when you put it that way, I enjoy wrestling. I've liked watching it. I did switch off for a few years there, but man, there's no shame in being a wrestling fan. So, again, I'm very, very, very proud, and I can't wait to see what the future holds, man. I mean, can you see me now?
Can you see me now? That is one of the great lines, and I love it, man. Look, let's leave it here for today. We'll reconvene at a later date, maybe next week, when we'll do another episode, maybe post SmackDown. See what Cody has to say this Friday, this Saturday, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. But if you can, like the video, I'd say subscribe. But if you're not already, then please do so. It helps us out, it helps the channel out. And thank you for watching, guys. And until next video, we will see you all then.